Hey guys, welcome back to the only pool show out there that discusses the tools of the game, the Cue Tang Clan. I am your host, the Gangster of Pool. Some of you know me by my government name, Rob. But we have a special impromptu edition of the Cue Tang Clan tonight. We have a very high end pro out there with a new Q sponsor. Some of you who have seen the Mosconi Cup will know that Jayson Shaw was using a cue that I have and I love, the Viking with Paul Drexler Designs cue with the white carbon shaft. We seen him use it in Mosconi Cup. We had we heard him leave Perry, seen him with the Viking cue, and then we heard countless rumor after rumor after rumor that he was going to go to Viking in white carbon or triple 60 and get the Fedor deal. We heard Fedor when he left QTech and went to Viking last year. He got the highest money deal for a Q sponsor out of anybody. Who's to know what the dollar amount is, but we hear it is, a $1 million plus deal. So we all seen Jayson Shaw with that Q Mosconi Cup, and we thought that that's where he was headed after that. But we just got the news a few days ago. We heard little rumblings, but there was nothing out of Jayson Shaw's camp. But then we got the news a few days ago that he indeed signed with Jay Flowers Q's, and he is right on their ambassador page. He went right to the #1 ambassador spot. So I did my research on Jay Flowers, and I'm a Dennis Orculio fan, aka RoboCop. I'm a fan of his. I know he was a Jay Flowers player. Obviously, the other name that we all know from their camp was Earl Strickland. Earl Strickland, Jay Flowers player, Jeff DeLuna. So I did my homework. I went to their page and I was just trying to brush up on who they were, what products they had, and just Jayson Shaw is probably my favorite current active pro out there. So therefore, being a Q guy and hosting the Cue Tang Clan, I want to know what he's playing with. I want to know what tools he's using. So just studying up on Jay Flowers. Obviously, they're a China-made Q company, as was Perry, Jayson Shaw's last sponsor. Their sponsorship page is pretty crazy, if you ask me. They got their influencers mixed in with their. Well, I shouldn't say mixed in. They got their influencers listed with their pro players. Obviously, at the top you see Jayson Shaw, and then that I think he's German, Charivari. Jayson Shaw, Charivari influencer, Earl Strickland, Rodney Morris, Dennis Orculio, Jeff DeLuna, and then they have countless influencers listed. So obviously this is a Q company that's they're putting a lot of their promotion into the hands of their online influencers, and truthfully, who isn't these days? But yeah, so they have quite an extensive list of online influencers. They even have a sponsorship application at the bottom of their page that you can apply for and click on. I clicked on it, just to briefly read it, and it was pretty funny. The questions were, how many Instagram followers do you have? 1 to 5,000 or 5,000 plus? And then it was much more the same. How many Facebook followers? How many TikTok followers? The list goes on and on. So with all the social media names on there. So obviously they want to see that you got some clout in the game before they even start talking to you. So there you have it. If you guys got the social media follows out there and you want some Q game, hit up Jay Flowers. But anyway, just to get back to Jayson Shaw and his new direction with his new Q company, Jay Flowers. We don't know much more about his deal, how long it is. We just know that they threw up some quotes from Jayson Shaw. Oh, best break cue and jump cue I've ever used, and So we have that for now, and that's all we're going on. We don't know anything about money or length yet. But we know they're much like Perry. They're a China made Q company. Um, there's I guess that the American Q is going the way of the wind. There's not there's a handful of them left, but it seems like it's in today's day and age and society, it's like everything's just getting outsourced overseas, and um, maybe that's indicative of the type of deal that he likes or the type of deal that he's getting, to where it looks like it might be cheaper production, higher retail costs, and maybe that equates more money for him. So when I say higher retail costs, we all know what I want to say Jayson, but we all know what Perry was charging for his signature model cues. Um, they went up $5,000. I think one was $6,500. And right when he left, they came crashing down. $2,000, $1,000. I seen towards the very end, they had that Oriental brake cue that he had going for like $600. But yeah, so his signature model J Flowers, it's typical Jayson Shaw cue. It's almost identical to his Perry stuff. Unilock radial joint, and it's got the fancy little filigree inlays, towards the bottom and everything like that. Same color schemes. He likes dark blues, dark reds. So that's what I was able to take away from that. And I don't know if they just haven't dropped them yet, but on the website it has every Jayson Shaw signature model Q listed as out of stock. So who knows if they never had stock or they're still making them, and that's just their way to tide everybody over. But I can't see him announcing it, less than a week ago, and them already being out of stock for a $3,000 Q. I mean, that's just crazy. I really don't see the average Q market, especially for a player like Jayson Shaw, being that nuts, because once it was known that he was using that Viking Paul Drexler Q, those only went on sale at one place, and that was Cyberts, and they had 6 of them. So, and when I called up, to buy one, I was offered, I think one was sold, and I had my pick from numbers 2 through 6. So, and that was a $1,900 Q. I can't imagine that people are calling up and getting $3,000 Qs. But anyway, that's besides the point. Just some notes I had about Jayson Shaw and his history with Qs. We all know once he got started in the game, he was signed with Mayuchi. It looks like he I don't know if he gets bored at 5 years or what, but he spent the nickel with Mayuchi. Then he went to Perry, got that nice Perry deal, and that fell apart. He spent 5 years with Perry, and now he's with J Flower. So it's I would say it's probably a 5-year deal, or maybe till they want to go another direction. But I also thought it was kind of weird with Jayson Shaw, because I always, as a player myself, it just takes months to get into a new queue. A couple years ago, we seen Sky go from Mayuchi to Cue Tang, and he said it took some months. Fedor went from Cue Tang to Viking. With all the playing that he did, he still said it took some months. But Jayson Shaw, he had the fracture with Perry. I know he was using Perry cues probably up until about June last year, because we seen him at the expo. He was playing there with Perry cues. He was hawking Perry cues. So he was very much Perry at the midpoint of last year. And then we seen at the Hanoi Open. Nobody made a big deal of it, but when I seen him playing, obviously that's the tournament that he won, the Matchroom tournament that he won, the Hanoi Open. When we seen him playing, it didn't quite make out the butt that he was using, but I knew from being a Predator guy for so long that he was using a Revo shaft. So he won his tournament with the Revo shaft. Obviously, he went out to Mosconi Cup and won the Mosconi Cup and played very well with the Viking white carbon combo. So I don't know, man, if he's just one of those guys who can just jump into equipment. He plays so many different games, like Chinese 8-ball and One Pocket, and maybe it's easy for him to jump into a new queue and just just use a cue for a cue, and he doesn't need to establish that user tool relationship like most of us do. Um, so yeah, so it just seems like these less expensive cues that he's using, he underperforms with, uh, and then the high end stuff he's been playing great with. It just makes you think like if he's been playing his whole career with high end equipment, what his resume would look like, because it's pretty stacked as it is. Um, and just seeing the things that he's won and knowing the cues that he's used, it seems like there could have been a little bit more room for better outcomes, with some higher end equipment. But who knows? That's his prerogative. It's his game. It's his choice to use what he wants. And obviously, he is who he is for a reason, and we'll let him choose what he wants. Just let me go through some notes that I had written down. Um, I said that the Jay Flower stuff is almost identical to the Perry stuff. Look at his. I think they were called the Duke series in for his Perry stuff, and Jay Flowers. I think it's BF or something like that. B series cues. They look identical, the same design, same colors, everything, same joint. Obviously, he likes a specific joint, because on the Viking cue that he uses, the Mosconi cup that I have, unilock radial. So obviously he likes a big, thick radial joint. What do you got here? So yeah, so we don't know the deal. We know that it's Jay Flowers. We know that they have a handful of other pros. Um, it's you just get the feeling like as he's progressing in his pool career, he wants to take a little bit more stock into his cue making, and maybe that's something that he met with Viking with, and he didn't like. Obviously Bob Mayucci is a well known cue maker. He's an older guy. He's been at it for a while. There's not really a lot of input into his cues outside of him and his team. Viking 6060, obviously they have a department that's doing the R&D and coming up with their stuff. So yeah, it maybe he didn't jive with the lesser input, and he chooses these companies that are making a overseas product. Maybe that's why he just gets a little bit more input, and that's what he's after. So, like I said, good for him. It's he's obviously well established in the game, and he probably has a bit of coin to throw around too. So good for him. I wish him luck. Obviously, me being a Viking guy now, I would want Team Viking. Like I would want him there, because I was so shocked and so happy when Fedor joined Viking. And obviously we've seen Jayson Shaw using the Viking cue, and it was like, man, this is awesome. Like, you get these two giants of the game, using a cue that I thought I was the only one using. So yeah, that's funny there. I think that's it. We discussed the Jay Flowers application for sponsorship. That was pretty funny. Yeah, I think we covered everything I wanted to cover about Jayson Shaw. One thing I wanted to point out is obviously I am a Viking white carbon fan, and I've been talking about the price increase. How they went from just below $520 up to $600 as they sold more and more, and they started selling out. They went up to $600, and then I checked on the price today, and the price hit $750, and I almost shit myself. But I clicked on the wrong thing. It was for a 30-inch shaft. The 29-inch standard shafts are still at $600 or $600 even. So yeah, I thought that was great. I was like, man, they went up $150 just like that. That's crazy. But still, for an inch of cue for $150, I mean that's nuts, man. I know there's tall guys out there and they like a longer cue, but for an inch of cue, man, that's. I think if I was that tall, I think I'd just bite the bullet and get the 29. But obviously, the 29s are sold out. So it's like if you want one of those shafts, you got to take a size and a diameter that you don't want. But yeah, so get those 29-inch white carbons while you can. It's like hotcakes. They had that meme going around with Tyrone Biggums from the Chappelle Show going, "Y'all got any more of that white carbon?" Shit was pretty funny. I had to save that one. But yeah, so this was my little impromptu Jayson Shaw, Jay Flowers ramble. Once again, thank you guys for for all the feedback on the last few shows or my last two shows. I expect more of the same, and believe me, thank you guys. I get so much good feedback and constructive criticism. I appreciate it so much. So keep that coming, and thank you very much. Until the next time, guys.